Hello and welcome back, friends. If you're new around here, I'm Big Gator. If you came looking for the sharpest tennis bets, you are right where you belong. Right now we're covering ATP Tokyo semifinals and Beijing quarterfinals. So get in the comments, let me see what you're playing for tomorrow, tonight, the morning, wherever you are. And if you keep your eyes peeled, you can catch my pinned comment if you want to follow along with what I'm playing. Just a heads up, what I say in the videos analysis and what I play in the pinned comment is official, so keep your eyes peeled for what I play there. If you do like the breakdowns of these matches, please give this video a like. It goes a super long way. Thank you for all that do. And if you would like to get my picks as soon as I upload, like literally you don't even want to watch the video, you just want to see what I'm playing, you can subscribe. It's the fastest way to do so. We've been growing every day. I appreciate everyone that's been coming in. I love you all. I love you all. If you have any sort of generosity you want to show this way, there is a link in the pinned comment if you would like to donate, as well as a link to my Discord, which is free, and I give out more plays. So, with that being said, what are we looking like for today? We had two slips. We took over 9.5 games in the first set with Brooksby and Ruud, and then we took Alcaraz under 12.5 games. Alcaraz did it for us, but it looks like Holger Rune couldn't do a thing against Jenson Brooksby. We'll get into that in a bit. And then we took Tien to win a set. He won the match. And then we took Minaur to win a set. Couldn't do it against Musetti. The lefty couldn't do it, but we have one more in store. We'll get to that later as well. But it is the way of the beast. Maybe we should have just played Tien to win a set with Alcaraz. That would have been actually the great thing to do, but hey, it is what it is. We take these leaps, we take these falls, and we learn from them. So let's move on into Tokyo, as we've been starting every video. And going into our first match, it's going to be the two Americans, starting with, you know who it is, Jenson Brooksby going against Taylor Fritz. And this is going to be their second head-to-head, third this year. Okay? It is 2-1 Taylor Fritz. But the very first time they played each other was in the U.S. Open in 2021, and Jenson Brooksby did win. But earlier in the Australian Open, Brooksby was a bit out of form. Didn't really know who he was, honestly, earlier this year. It's a bit different now. Safe to say. So, looking at how, who they've been going through, but before we do that, let's see how they've been playing on the hard courts. Brooksby is only 9-8 this season, but a 64% win rate, going against Taylor Fritz, who's 29-10, with a 67% win rate. That's 3%. Brooksby is 25-9 this season. Taylor Fritz is 48-17. Looking at who they've beaten recently, right? Jenson Brooksby has gone through debatably a harder draw than Taylor Fritz. First round, Ugo Umper beats him in straight sets, by the way. Luciano Dartari, we took him for the money line there. Thank you, Jenson Brooksby. Got it done there. Holger Rune. No one saw this coming, I'm sure. I think I said in the last video, I don't know, man. Brooksby is scrappy. He's the guy that could do it. And Holger Rune is one of those players that he's at the top, but he has these moments where he shits the bed a bit. If someone gets him rattled and taken out of rhythm, he can't play. And that's what Brooksby did to him. He took him out of rhythm. He baited him a lot. Gave him a lot of floaty balls so you can slam them, and they went right into the net. So, the only thing is, Taylor Fritz is not built like that. He doesn't have that type of, I'm going to go in and slam the ball. He's a bit more calculated as a player. He's a bit more mature. So, the only thing is, when they did play each other back in what was that, early this year in Eastbourne? It was a close set. The first set was so close. And that was in the final. But Taylor Fritz, with that grass and that serve, he was on one. So, you know how that ended up. Taylor Fritz took that title. But here, Taylor Fritz has gone through Gabriel Diallo, hard as fuck to go through first round. dropped the set to him, beats Nuno and straights, goes against Korda, drops the set again. Surely the guy who hasn't dropped a set, the American that hasn't dropped a set, is good enough to take a set against Taylor Fritz. Surely he is. If he can take a set off, I don't know. I was going to say like Holger Rune, but in their first sets, there's only been one time on the hard court, or ever, where it didn't go over 10 games. The only reason why it didn't go to over 10.5 games, over 9.5 games with the Rune and Brooksby matches, was due to Rune being in form enough. And we know Taylor Fritz is going to be able to hold. We know he'll be able to hold. So that's even money. I know we didn't hit first yesterday, but I think Brooksby has someone that he can hold against here. He might be even the one that gets broken sooner. But all we need is a 4-4 hold for each person for this to hit. All we need is 4-4. At any given time, if both people can just get to 4 in one set, then this hits in the first set. So I like it, but I also like Brooksby to win a set as well. So I don't know which one is the better play. The guy who hasn't dropped a set to take a set, or for him to keep a close first set. I'll tell you one thing. Those second sets with Taylor Fritz are a bit closer, except for the one against Diallo, which he gave up. Which I don't know if he'll be able to. Like, Brooksby doesn't have a strong enough serve, or he just puts the ball in play more or less. He had like one or two aces, I think, against Rune. Did he not? I think he had one, yeah. So we'll move on, but I do like Brooksby doing something in that match more than I like Taylor Fritz to do something in that match. We'll move on, though. Our next match is going to be Carlos Alcaraz going against Casper Ruud. And man, oh man, it's so funny. Carlos Alcaraz is 4-2 in their head-to-head history. But within the last two times they played, the last time they played each other, guess who won? Casper Ruud. I remember that. I think I covered that match in Turin. It was in the finals. He beat Alcaraz 6-1, 7-5. I could not believe that shit, bro. One thing that is crazy, it hasn't happened since like 2024. No. Only 1 2 out of 3 setter match has ever occurred where he had over 12.5 games won. So, it's very funny. Casper Ruud dropped the set to Mochizuki, a little bit rusty coming from the Laver Cup, I suppose. But he beat Vukic, Berrettini, and straights. Alcaraz has been covering the spread, I'm pretty sure, pretty efficiently. So there's that. Hasn't dropped a set, obviously. Do we have to talk about this too much longer, or do we just know what we're going to do with this? We're going to keep riding Alcaraz 12.5 unders until it don't work. Until we can be like, damn it, Alcaraz, you let this guy push you further? That's when we can get upset about it. But until then, we're riding it. I don't care. I don't care. But anyway, 4-2 in their history. The last time they played was in Turin in the finals, as I said before. But before that, they played in Beijing. So when they did play here, he beat him in the quarterfinals in straight sets. So that's a repeated history, if you ask me. The spread is at, what, 4.5? I take it at 4.5. But if you wanted to go crazy, you can take the smoke at 5.5. It's plus 140. If you think he beats him the same way he did last year. But I think Casper Ruud was playing a bit better. Who did he play? He was playing Echeverry in the round before that. And who else? And Jan Lennard Struff. Yeah, so night and day opponents he had to face last time he was in Beijing leading up to Alcaraz. This time around, he faced a bit harder folks. Just a bit harder. But Berrettini was a bit of a walkover, but he still struggled there. So, yeah, just with that being said, Berrettini had one good match and then lost. And he still took Casper Ruud to a tie break. I don't think that means fuck all against Alcaraz. The under is still where I sit. And with that being said, that is all we have for Beijing. I'm sorry, for Tokyo. So let's move into Beijing quarterfinals. And boy, is it juicy. Boy, is it juicy over here. Okay, first match we have is going to be Alex de Minaur going against Jakub Mensik. Holy. And you know, this is going to be their fourth head-to-head. First on the real outside hard-door court, but every time they've played has been indoor hard court, and de Minaur has barely dropped a set to this guy. Only but once, and that was in the very first time they played last year in Vienna, if you guys remember. Last October in Vienna. So, it's always close, though. Like, what's the spread at for 6-4, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4? So always like a break, right, in each set from de Minaur. And this is kind of one of the best prices we'll get de Minaur at. I told you when he's in ATP 500 form, which is what he's in right now, Buddy has only dropped a set to Rinderknecht, but I don't know what happened there, honestly. He bageled Boo right before that. So I think that was his wake-up match. I think he's woken up. Mensik is going to definitely have him focused. This is reminding me already a lot of his match against like Nakashima in DC in the quarterfinals. He went against Musetti in the semis and beat him in straights, but he beat Nakashima in straights too, 6-4, 6-4. I can kind of see the same happening here. I can kind of see a 6-4, 6-4. Mensik's been playing well, but he's only gone through Arthur Cazaux and Kecmanovic. Not strong enough. He just played him in the Laver Cup too, right? A few weeks ago. Not even a few weeks ago. He played him last week. It's the 28th right now. He played him on the 21st and lost in straights. So, we'll see. They played in Rotterdam earlier this year as well. It was 6-4, 6-4. I think the saucy play is to take the spread at minus 3.5 because that's what we've seen from him. But something tells me to go for the 2.5. I don't know why. I would take the minus 2.5 on the spread. I think that there could be a tiebreak somewhere here. So, I don't know why. I could be totally wrong, but I would go for the minus 2.5 over the minus 3.5. It's a great price still. Minus 165 parlay piece, that's good. You know I'd take that. You know I'd take it. Put it with something else for sure, but yeah. Let's move on. Next we have Jannik Sinner going against Fabian Marozsan. I'm sorry. And this is going to be their third head-to-head. Funny enough, they have played each other on the hard court. I think I talked about this before, actually, in Egypt, right? This is some time ago, but it didn't really go anywhere. That was a meaningless match. Jannik ended up playing him in Halle last year, and he dropped a set to him. But we know how it is with people with really good touch, like Marozsan. He has been doing a fuck ton of drop shots, getting away with a lot of crazy shit. He's been going to tie breaks in every match. I think he may be able to push a few games out against Jannik. I do think that I'm a bit late getting on the Fabian Marozsan train, but I do think he could be good for a few games. His line is at 6.5. If Atman can get a set, surely Fabian can get at least 7 games in, right? At least 7 games. at least 7 games, right? I would really think so. The plus money that I told you guys about with Yannick going over 12.5 games with Terrence Ama, I told you it was going to happen. But here, I don't. This is where I'm like conflicted. If he can get 7 games, Yannick still can win an under 12.5. Covering a spread, I don't think anything of it. I wouldn't do it. Total games is at set to what? 18.5. I'd maybe alt it up and then go for the under. So maybe, oh no. The max is 21.5. I'm not touching it. Not touching it. I don't know here, man. You can go for over 16.5 games. That's minus 330. I don't even think that could hit too. Like, this is just weird. I can't really. I'd have to really deliberate after looking at his highlight again. Like, really look at the highlights and see how he's playing and how he's moving. Because the serve and the drop shot, the serve and volley is doing well, but he's not even really serving volleying. He's just serving well, and when he gets in a rally, he has a nice drop shot that works. And he's not really even acing that crazily. He had 3 aces against Muller. But he had 9 against Bonzi. So, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. But we're going to move on. Obviously, center wins, but the value in the match I couldn't tell you. The spread is at 6.5. I mean, honestly, if that's what you wanted to do, I would go for the minus 5.5 is decent, but minus 4.5 is a little bit better. I think is for Yannick. It's minus 330. It's a parlay piece, if anything. I don't love it, but the minus 185 for the minus 5.5. He got to win by 6 games. I think that's a decent price, but I think it's a bit risky. Given how he was in his last match against the lefty Atman. So, anyway, moving on. We have our boy. He's made it to the quarterfinals in an ATP 500. Lerner Tien. Keep climbing, my boy. We're proud of you over here in Gators Corner. In this swamp here, we fuck with you, bro. Keep going. Happy to see it. Anyway, we have Lerner Tien going against Lorenzo Musetti. This is going to be their first head-to-head. And just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, Lerner Tien is about 19 years old. Musetti is 23. Lerner Tien is quite young, but he has jumped from the mid-150s to 52 in about a year's time. I covered him in the earlier parts of this channel. I'm quite grateful for the wins I've been getting from him over the past year. He's been winning in the ways I've needed him to since he's been 18. So, freshly 18 at that. So, I appreciate Lerner Tien. Anyway, going against Musetti, looking at the record, and I'm prefacing that his age is because he has a very, very high win percentage on the hard courts. It's a 75% win rate. He's 21-11. This season alone, he went 54-8 last season at a challenger level. So 75% is really good, and he's a lefty. Then we have Musetti, who's got the one-handed backhand, the one-handed right-handed backhand, whatever you want to call it. One-hand backhand. He beat Manarino, a lefty, in straights, but he dropped a set to Pericard. Like, I don't understand. But when he played against Tabilo, he lost in 3. He lost to Cam Norrie in Washington as well. So it's crazy because I think you would think that Mannarino would be the better one out of all of them. I still don't really understand how he lost that match as badly as he did. Not even getting a set is kind of interesting to me. But Musetti, nonetheless, won in straights. And then we have Leonard Tien, who has gone through Francisco Cerundolo and Flavio Caboli, who is no longer with us. I'm sorry, we'll see you in the next one, Flavio. But you ran into our boy. Oops. Apologies for that loud crash, that you just heard a loud crash. Flavio Caboli in straights. He was a bit out of sorts watching that match, so the unforced error count was a bit high for him. Tien just kind of took advantage of a guy that was having a bad day. So this match against Musetti is going to be a bit of a difference in how he's going to have to go about things. He's going to actually have to really try to win this one. Caboli was in and out of that match. Musetti's going to be in this match hardcore. He could be a bit frustrated by the lefty. He's been playing a lot of them recently, so maybe he has learned a thing or two. The only thing is, as far as defense and ball striking goes, on the hard court, this is the best one he's faced yet. Since Cam Norrie. Right? So, Mannarino, older, doesn't move as well. Oh, he moves great, but he doesn't move as well as a 19-year-old American Tien. Also, pace. He's one of the slowest hitters on tour. So, Musetti was just hitting harder, moving faster. Different match for him, right? Like, having to adjust down for that, he could do that pretty well, and we saw that. Like, that's what most likely happened. And then we have the Mpechi Pericard, 2 tie breaks. So the serve has definitely gotten to him. To take it to go to tie breaks both ways, but really had to lock in that last set. In that last set, for it to be that close against Giovanni and Mpechi Pericard, I think it's a little funny. So, but he has been playing a fuck ton of tennis recently. Tien has played a decent amount as well, but he has a bit more rest, and I kind of lean on his youth of 4 years to kind of get us through that. I do like Tien for a set today. I do think out of all of the lefties that he's played against, Musetti has, Mannarino's the only one that hasn't been able to nab a set. So I think that our boy Tien is very much good for that. If you know me, you know I will be sprinkling some on that money line. You know it. But we will move on. Yeah. I think Tien's good for a set. But the total games is at 22.5. If you want to take that. The spread is at plus 3.5. I would take the 4.5, honestly, just to be sure. Maybe take Musetti to win over 12.5 games, if that's how you really feeling. If you like Musetti, that's your bet. Take Musetti over 12.5 games. That is your bet. Because he's not about to dog walk Leonard Tien. And that's not my bias speaking. I don't think that this young kid's pedigree on a hard court is going to be able to just get stomped on like this. Musetti's 35-15, yes, but he also has got a 57% win rate on a hard court, where Tien has a 75% win rate on a hard court. So, being 16-9 is cool, but being 21-11 is better. And he's beaten people in his rank in the top 10. So, I like his odds of getting a set, and you know I like his odds of taking the match, but we'll keep that there. And our last, but very much so, not least match, we have Money Time Medvedev going against Sasha Zverev. Daniel versus Zverev. Historically, this head-to-head has been quite funny. They've played each other 21 times. I'm going to say that again. They've played each other 21 times. Okay? Last time they played each other was in Halle. It went to 2 tie breaks, just like the match that happened for Musetti and Giovanni and Pecci Pericard. It ended up the exact same way. 7-6, 6-7, 6-4. Going Medvedev's way. All right? And honestly, it's funny. Medvedev loses to a lot of people, but he's beaten Zverev. It's 14-7 in their head-to-head record. Okay? Seemingly, Zverev took the first few matches in their head-to-head history back in 2016. Won the first 4 times. Lost in the final in Shanghai to him. That should say something. He lost in the Masters to him. Then beats him again in the final in Paris. They played in London for, I guess, an exhibition match. But yeah, Zverev ended up winning in the final in 2021. But anyway, since 2022, Zverev's only been able to beat Medvedev once. And 2, 4, 6, 8, and 7 matches, there's only been 1 win from Zverev. So far, Medvedev got through Cam Norrie and Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in straight sets. Is this the Medvedev we've been... It's crazy what coaching does, isn't it? And he's the favorite. Medvedev is the favorite. Be so for real. Minus 150 for Medvedev against Alex Zverev. Hey, if you a Sasha fan, take that, bro. Take that plus 124. Because Medvedev's money line at this is crazy. I thought he'd be a dog. Surely you would think he'd be a dog. He's not even in the top 10 anymore. Medvedev is ranked 18. I think Tiafoe's ranked better than him right now. So, jeez. Okay, so Mutet and Sonagos, who Zverev got through. Those are like people you expect him to get through. But he dropped a set to Mutet, and he likes playing against lefties. So that's funny. Alejandro, I thought he was good for a set. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought he'd be good for a set against Medvedev. Couldn't even produce that. Medvedev seems to be back. That swap in his team really got him playing better. It's crazy. He had that one shaky loss against Yebing Wu, but that was in China against a Chinese man in the quarterfinal. It was loud, it was crazy, and that wasn't his crowd. So we saw how he was in the U.S. Open. When the crowd's his, he can control shit. He couldn't really manipulate the way he needed to get his win that way. But anyway, it doesn't seem like he's playing that way anymore. It seems like he's playing real tennis, and he's smoking the ball, too. With a whopping 5 aces on Alejandro, who's a great returner. Had 9 against Cam Norrie. So, against Zverev, who's a great returner as well, I would think that he could produce a few aces for us. But, historically, you know what I'm going to look at. That first set. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. That first set over 9.5 has hit since 2023. So we are going to be playing that, I'm sure. I like that. Across all surfaces, too. That first set is big with them. Let's see. Deviated off of that, actually, in 2023. There was 2 matches, but majority of their later matches that they've played recently on hard courts have gone over 9.5 games in the first set. All but one. In 2022. Since 2022. But that wraps everything up. I know I've been talking a whole bunch. Sorry about that. Let me know what you guys are playing for tonight. I'm going to be in my Discord having a big discussion with my folks, talking about what you guys are going to be playing and what they're going to be playing. Make sure you get yourself involved, and catch you guys tomorrow. Peace. Love you all.